the St. Martin Christian Council of Churches, as you know, every quarter we organize what we call a town hall meeting, whereby we touch on various topics, and situations that touch the community. As you can recall, we've had town hall meetings on human trafficking, on abortion, same-sex marriage, euthanasia, all those different town hall meetings we've had. This time, since we have had such a massive hurricane, and since we are entering into the hurricane season, we thought it best to also organize a town hall meeting based on psychological disaster preparedness. What we would like to bring to the community, and we would really like each and everyone to come out to this, because we're going to have some speakers that are going to be talking about how to deal with a stressful situation before a hurricane comes. We're going to be talking about the stressful situation after a hurricane. And of course, we're going to be talking about the logistics. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be having Mr. Bonkamper. As you know, Mr. Bonkamper is from the Vromi, but he is also a member of the EOC, and he will be talking about how to prepare yourself, during the hurricane season, and what to do and how to really protect yourself, etc., about the logistics that you need to put in place. Then we also have two psychologists. We have psychologist Evelyn John Roberts, and we have Tamika, also a psychologist, who are going to be talking about the before and the after aspect, really, of preparedness for the disaster. But of course, coming from the churches, we start first with the biblical aspect of preparedness for disaster. Yes, and that Reverend Joan Mead is going to be talking about the biblical aspect of preparedness for disasters. Yeah, and then Mr. Bonkamper will talk about the logistics, and then, of course, the two psychologists will come in to talk about the before and the after. Because, let us be honest, today, now, the minute you leave your house, you have stress. The minute you get into your car, you got more stress. The minute you get into the traffic, you have more stress. So people need to really and truly be now taught how to really, deal with it. And this town hall meeting is going to be next week, Wednesday, the 30th of May. And that is going to be at the usual place where we keep all our town hall meetings, and that is in the hall, the Catholic Community Hall on Back Street, opposite the Cultural Center. There's where we have the town hall meeting, the 30th, Wednesday, the 30th of May. Yeah, and we're starting at 7 o'clock, and we're inviting the entire community to come out and listen and be prepared and learn how to deal, because I can tell you there's a lot of stress still going on. So many people are homeless, so many people are without a roof, so many people have financial problems, so many people have lost their jobs, but come and learn to know how you can deal with this, because it is serious, people. It's very serious, and it is not easy. I know that it is not easy for many people out there. Can you imagine that you have lost your job and you don't have an income? You don't know where the next meal is going to come from. I mean, let me put it bluntly. You don't know where the next meal is going to come from, because all your money is finished. You don't have an income. You don't have anything. So people, but then of course you can get a message. You can get a message on how, in particular, you have to deal with these stressful situations, because it can become a disaster within a disaster if we don't know how to deal with it. So I'm inviting each and every one again. I want to repeat, next week, Wednesday, the 30th of May, yes, at the community center of the Catholic Church. That is on Back Street, opposite the Culture Center. and there the Christian Council of Churches will be bringing the program called Psychological Disaster Preparedness. Yeah? So people, you have been told, so we expect, and we start at 7 o'clock in the evening. 7 o'clock, people come out. We will have a little snack and a little drink for you also. So, even if you leave home hungry, you will be fed. So come out and enjoy. And not only enjoy, but of course learn something and how to take care of yourself.
Tell them, connecting you.
Hi, I'm Fernando Clark.
And I'm Sherlon Clark.
And we invite you to St. Martin's first ever father and son comedy show called It's a Family Affair.
On Sunday, June 3rd, under the tent at Port au Plaisance.
Starting at 7 p.m. sharp.
Gates open at 6 p.m.
Okay, since you feel you're so smart, tell them where they could get tickets and for how much.
Big D Photo Studio on the Pantfield Road, Vandor Bookstores in Simpson Bay and on the 80 Elledge Road, SOS Radio in Marigot, and Arts and Gas Station in Hameau Dupont.
And for how much?
Only $30. So come out on June 3rd under the tent at Port au Plaisance to see me in action.
To see you? No, they're coming to see me.
Okay then, come out to see both of us.
And bring the whole family.
Because it's a family affair.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Mega Wadi is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
And politics must be doing something good. There is something in politics, money, something. Because, listen, years ago, the money was in church. Everybody was opening a church. You pass someplace, so there's a supermarket, tomorrow's a church. Okay? Church ain't doing so good no more. So it's politics now. Y'all look like, oh, you don't believe me? Well, you got people retiring from pastor and church and they're joining politics. We boast that the show is the first ever father and son comedy show because it's me and my son Sherlon, and we've never had a comedy show on this island between father and son, and particularly in a family affair dubbed comedy show. We're going to be taking a look at life in a humorous way. We're going to be taking a look at relationships, at family matters, you know, how we bring up our children and so on. How children relate to parents, the difference in some of the, what would I call it, the generation gap, you know, and how that is going. All of it in a humorous way. But the show will be in honor of the late Roland Cecil Bryson, known to all of us as Paben or Chumongo. We are going to pay our tributes to him by actually dedicating this show, having the show in his honor. As you know, Paben was a man of culture. He was a man also of comedy. He did comedy also. He did drama. The character Paben that he portrays is a character that he played in Old Story Time. And he held on to that character and made a lifelong character out of it. I think people know Paben more by the character Paben than by, you know, who he really is, Roland Bryson. So that character Paben has lived on. And of course, we'll be paying homage to Paben as we will dedicate the show in his honor. So we're calling on everybody to come out to the show and be part of it, as you have a father and son now doing comedy together.
The worst thing you can do when you're in church as a young child is behave bad. Because when you do that, my mother does give me the look. And then the only other person who would give me a look is my grandmother. And then my grandmother look at my mother, and she do this. So you know, but listen, then she say, oh, excuse me, I have to take my son to the bathroom, you need to pee. Listen, I didn't need to pee before, but when she grabbed my hand to go pee by, I was feeling piss coming on my pants right there. You hear it by, yo. Gone back in that bathroom. Ooh. Listen, at some point, I could have sworn I saw the face of Jesus himself, and I there checking, help me. Jesus looking down at me like, bye, you on your own, bye.
For this comedy show, considering it's my first time actually being a star as opposed to an MC, I know there's going to be a few more challenges to it because it's not just about having to bring somebody on, it's about giving a performance myself and having my own dedicated, my own dedicated runtime, as you could say. The things I intend to talk about would be more different things. Say, for example, like my father said earlier, the generation gap, differences between, you know, one generation versus another generation. But at the same time, I could talk about things that are similar between them because there are certain things that are passed down from generation to generation. I could touch upon those things. I like to touch upon the relationships between, you know, father and son, maybe children and their parents, but also to give a different perspective. Like he could give a parent's perspective, I could give the child's perspective, especially with how with each generation things are handled differently. I could be touching on that. But what I really intend to do is I really intend to prove that I'm ready to take the reins per se, take ownership of the family business, you could say, and to show that it really does run in the family and that the apple didn't really fall far from the tree. Or as I like to say, the apple didn't fall at all. So, but other than that, I'd say yes, that I feel like I'm ready to prove myself to show that I can keep up. I can not only do comedy as well, but I can keep up with my father and to show that, you know, the son has it too.
SXM, connecting you.
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 fun mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of fun miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free fun miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles, fun within your reach.
Next week, we have the IPCO meetings. The IPCO meetings will be taking place in the Netherlands starting on Tuesday next week. The delegation from St. Martin will be traveling tomorrow, Wednesday, via Curaçao to The Hague. I was to be part of that delegation, but I am traveling later in connection with the funeral of the late Roy Marlin. So I will be joining the delegation of St. Martin on Monday in The Hague. The IPCO agenda has been agreed to between all 4 parties, the 4 parliaments of the Dutch Kingdom. Usually, and this time is no exception, before a IPCO meeting, the 3 Caribbean countries, the delegations of the 3 Caribbean countries, St. Martin, Aruba, and Curaçao, will meet. That meeting will take place on Monday, and the IPCO deliberations and work visits will start on Tuesday and basically run until Friday. So that will take place, as I mentioned, next week, and then the regular schedule of Parliament, again, for which there are several pending matters, will then start in the week of June 11th. We have several outstanding matters that basically were put off and rescheduled due to the unavailability of the ministers. We had requests from factions in Parliament for meetings regarding matters like the reconstruction, matters like the dump, matters like the entire situation regarding the St. Martin cable TV employees. So these matters are actually pending for further discussion by Parliament. Some of the meetings yet need to start, but other meetings started. The government was asked questions and now need to respond. So we always need to ensure that the government or government ministers are available to come back to Parliament and give responses on these meetings. That's why sometimes you see the meeting or meetings on a particular topic can drag out, because you need the government ministers to be able to be in Parliament and come back and respond. And I also hope that now that the matter of the question hour has been finalized and regulated, that if not in the meeting week of June 11th, definitely in the next meeting week, we can start with the question hour with government. As you may recall, that proposal for a question hour was being worked into the rules of order. However, we took out that part and we had it formalized by Parliament. So we could, with the collaboration of government, have a question hour with government, whereby ministers would come into Parliament. There will be public sessions and specific questions that were posed and put forward to the ministers within a certain time period. It's not a long, lengthy discussion. Will come and provide answers to those specific questions.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Sherlin, what are you doing?
Oh, just sending my friends a tweet to come to the show to see me.
To see you? They ain't coming to see you, they come to see me. But by the way, what's that tweet?
I'm just sending them a message to come to the show.
It's a family affair, a father and son comedy show featuring the philosopher of humor Fernando Clark and his son, the rising star Sherlin Clark, in the first ever pre-Father's Day comedy show on Sunday, June 3rd, under the tent at the Port of Plaisance, starting at 7 p.m. sharp, gates open at 6 p.m. Tickets are available at the Vondor bookstores in Simpson Bay and at the 80 Illich Road, Big D Photo Studio on the Pondfield Road, and SOS Radio in Marigot for $30. Bring the whole family because it's a family affair.
Daddy, what are you doing?
Sending my friends a tweet too so that they could come to the show.
Daddy, you can't. Just give me their numbers and I'm gonna send them a message, alright?
And tell them bring the daddy and the mommy and grandpa and granny and nenen and godfather. Tell them bring the whole family because it's a family affair.
Alright.
Many of the investors spoke about not just returns on investment. So this is obviously post-hurricanes, speaking about maximum risk-adjusted returns. So what they're trying to say is they're not just looking at a simple business model. Their business model, their business plan, their numbers, they're also adjusting it based on risk. So the better our infrastructure, the fact that we've put our electricity and water underground, means that they have less risk. So all of these factors are being taken into account by investors when they're trying to decide where they're going to invest their money. So again, there's a lot we can learn from each other, from our neighbors in the Caribbean, what they've been doing, what their success stories are, what their failures have been. It's always been my belief that we can learn as much from what other people have done right as well as what they've done wrong. So all in all, a very productive trip. And by the way, to the Minister of Finance, as a matter of fact, during my entire term as minister, the past 2+ years, have always lived by your travel policy that you're proposing within as your cost-saving measures. So basically meaning that for flights less than 5 hours, this minister always flies economy. And I still have good connections in the tourism industry, so always work with negotiated hotel rates, always a good price. I'm a bargain shopper. So Minister of Finance, walking the walk. Next topic I'd like to touch on is from a labor perspective, a work permitting perspective. Clearly, the ministry in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma is doing all the best that it can to make sure that our people are included in the reconstruction process. This includes a number of activities that we've been executing, a number of registration or employment drives. As a matter of fact, any larger projects that are looking to import workers, we always encourage them that they need to do registration drives, employment drives, training sessions to try and make sure that our people have opportunities to participate in our reconstruction economy. There's a number of training programs that are in place. The White and Yellow Cross has basically an internship type program where people can get paid to work and learn on the job. NEPA, of course, and we sent a number of individuals to Trinidad for training. But it is clear that there are still insufficient numbers of skilled laborers on the local market to address the demands for skilled construction workers for our recovery process. Therefore, the ministry is making use of Article 7, Paragraph 3 of the National Decree containing general measures on the employment of foreign labor. This allows the minister to grant a one-time employment permit for construction professionals on a specific project basis. There are some requirements to that, and I'll read through the requirements. The business must have a valid labor registration. The business must register the vacancies on www.jobopportunity.sx. There's the possibility that, especially now for construction jobs, that we would consider waiving the 5-week period. Normally, you have to advertise and then wait 5 weeks before you can submit your work permit applications. We're looking at, based on the fact that we've done a number of activities to try and find local laborers and have not found that there is a lot of labor available, that we would consider waiving the 5-week waiting period before they could submit applications. A completed employment permit application form and overview of education, payment of all taxes to the business, payment of the applicable processing fee to the government of St. Martin, a statement of guarantee of housing for non-nationals signed off by the registered owner of the business. And actually, it was very interesting. One of the points that we spoke about in the investment conference was that as companies are looking at the possibility of bringing in relatively large numbers of foreign labor, we want to ensure that that doesn't distort our housing market. We already have very limited housing. And so if we're bringing in construction workers who are obviously going to be working full-time, we want to ensure that they don't harm our local rental market, because we don't really want them competing with our rental market, driving up prices and making issues for locals to find affordable housing. So this is an important topic for discussion as we look at bringing in people. How are they going to be housed? Where are they going to be housed?